Hello, collective. In this video, I wanted to cover a little on energy. One thing that I've learned is throughout the years is to be able to discern what energy is mine's or another's. You don't have to be an empath to understand energy shifting. Whether it's yours or someone else's energy, sometimes it's hard to tell. Again, you don't have to be an empath to actually do this. Throughout your day, let's say different emotions, whether it be fear, anger, sadness, happiness, anxiety, whatever it could be for that day, different scenarios in your life. You have to take a moment in order to be able to decipher whether you are experiencing the energy that is naturally yours or someone else's. After a while, it becomes easier. You have to make this a mindful thing within your day, your week, your month. It's not something that is easy to do, so it takes a little bit of exercising your mind until it becomes something that is easier and normal for you. Sort of building mental endurance. It's almost like exercising your brain till you build that brain muscle. And this is because we become lazy throughout our lives to actually think critically. It's too much work. So we're kind of, especially if you're in 3D thinking, we kind of are walking around zombified. And when you are being asked to discern, you're gonna have to put some work into it. In order to be able to figure out whether this is someone else's energy or your own, because sometimes we take on another person's energy and they try to transfer that into us and it doesn't belong to us. Whether it be emotions, thoughts, ideas, situations, scenarios, someone else's scenario, someone else's inner dialogue. And I like to use parables or metaphors in order to explain this. Different types of ideas that I want to convey. I will often use an example. So for example, let's just say a narcissistic person, they will try to convince you as to what you should be feeling. And a lot of times it's a projection of what a narcissist or not may be experiencing. For example, he will make sure that I receive the message that in one way or another, he's very clever on how he does this and keeps his hands clean as though he's done nothing. Remember, this is covert abuse. So he will have someone else suggest that I'm experiencing anxiety, or that everything is going wrong in my life, or maybe doing this to another person. And you may be experiencing certain things that may be normal throughout your day, your month, your year. Or you may have had a slight problem throughout the day, or maybe nothing at all. If you seem like you're healed, you have a lot of things that are a little together in your life, the narcissist, whatever he's feeling, he will project that onto you. And the power of suggestion is real. So he will have someone else try to make you believe that you're experiencing anxiety, that everything is all wrong in your life. So that this way you put things together that is a normal state of living. None of us have a perfect life, but yet the narcissist will cleverly want to transfer his energy onto you, which is why I wanted to gear this video as to how to understand what your energy is or what someone else's energy is. Narcissists shapeshift. They like to transfer their energy onto you. Even if it isn't happening, he will suggest that is happening, or have one of his flying monkeys suggest this, or whichever way that he's going to go about it. But this is so that you, as you're hearing words throughout your day, you're taking that on as your reality. As you heal, self-reflect, go inwards, and exercise that mind to be able to discern what is yours or not. As you're healing, this is when you'll be able to block different emotions. If you think about it, many times we're feeling something throughout the day, your week, your month, as I said, and you know it isn't happening in your life, and you get this inkling that, this emotion isn't mine. That is a intuitive hit by the universe so that you can pay attention. Again, the more you heal, the more you exercise the mind and you think critically, and you make this a part of your day to become more aware as to what belongs to you or what someone else is attempting to do. Many times this is done by other people unconsciously. A narcissist will transfer energy in this very creative, skillful way. This is why they do contact jobs, family, friends, anyone in your life in order to transfer that energy he is feeling for the day, things that he does not want to carry. In fact, the narcissist does not want to come out of his alternate reality. So what he does is make other people a human trash can. So if you can imagine, you have all these flying monkeys, people recruited who have their own inner dialogue. And that dialogue may exist of struggles, pain, wounds, ideas, world conditioning, identity crisis, whatever it may be. So the narcissist finds out what those things are, and he conditions you to dump that inner dialogue onto the target. This is why they have to dehumanize the target, making you a human trash can. And so what he's doing is kind of dog walking people into emptying out their own issues onto the designated target. This is why I say you have to understand with your emotions what is yours and what isn't. Narcissists do not want to take the time to do the inner work. And I tend to believe and have studied this, and it basically is they can't do the work. You have to be able to have empathy for the self-reflect, and admit these things. And because it is an alternate reality, it is their comfort zone that they never want to come out of. So if you're not careful, many times you're carrying these thoughts, ideas, emotions within yourself that are not yours to begin with. In a sense, it's a consistent destiny swapping. Your life for his. This is why there is that jealousy when they see others who are either happy or, for the most part, things are together, going well. People are working as a team. There's love, understanding, camaraderie. Emotional dumping is something that a lot of us do, especially when we're unhealed. There are people who do a long text, and their emotional dumping within the text. Now, this isn't always the case, because if you have no other means to communicate, you may want to express yourself only to get understanding. But when you have someone who is constantly studying where your wounds are, constantly needing to dump their own emotions in order to destiny swap with who you are, and they've studied this, and it isn't a painful situation for the narcissist because this is his default setting. So they're used to doing this from very young. They have learned and adapted to dumping what they feel onto others in order not to carry it. This is why these type of energies, they perfect the art of appearing together while you appear crazy. You appear like you're all over the place, and the narcissist has all his ducks in a row. Now, every now and then he'll come out of that and he'll mimic people who are either sorry or they're coming into an understanding or healing. That's a facade, and you fall into that, trap into that in the beginning, and you find that it just returns back to the default setting. And this will happen consistently for years upon end. And you'll find that a lot of time has been wasted. So if you can imagine anything that is negative within this type of character, they're very well versed in how to do this. It is a consistent way of being. That internal dialogue, it's not going to go anywhere. You can hope and try to talk to them and try to get them to seek therapy, and they'll pretend for a while. But it falls on deaf ear because this is not something that is easily healed. If they try to seek therapy, most self-aware narcissists will tell you that they resort back to this. This is why it's considered a mental illness. And so the next person who isn't necessarily used to operating that way, these people wind up not being able to articulate what they've been through. Many targets or survivors of narcissistic abuse, they report that they didn't know how to explain it in the beginning. It is not easy to articulate narcissistic abuse because it's so insidiously done. When you begin to try to explain it, you look crazy, as though you're making it up, or you're not taking accountability for your part. You sound childish, as though you're trying to dump it onto someone else, but you were actually a victim of narcissistic abuse. In the beginning, though I was very aware and healed, I myself was not ready for the mindfuckery myself. So it was hard for me to explain it. I did well, but the dynamics, the intricacies of how this is done, it's not easy to put into words. So it did take me some time to get it together. Throughout the whole way, I have managed to keep it together, but at the same time, because this is not something that your average everyday mind is ready for. So when you backtrack to the very beginning of the stalking and harassment, this has been done the whole time, where the narcissist is studying you from the very beginning. Where are your wounds? Where are your buttons, your weaknesses? In order to set up the table for the narcissist to feed off of you, and how to be able to do that is almost like preparing for a meal. If you ever been a target of a narcissist, you'll find here and there that a flying monkey will say, I don't remember her doing anything negative towards me. I don't know why I did it. This is part of the distortion, because at the time you were sort of put to sleep to yourself, where you start compromising your own morals. And when you awaken to what this is it's supposed to induce a sense of shame, guilt, confusion, to the point where if every single person involved begins to explain their portion, their involvement, it will appear or they will be actually trying to save themselves, either overly explain or not explain at all, or they'll say, I don't know what you're talking about, which a narcissist tells people, just pretend you're oblivious to it all. It'll go away. But in the end, when people educate themselves and find out what they were involved in, for some, not all, there is a sense of shame, of guilt, of they're stuck taking accountability, and also finding themselves having to clean up a mess for themselves. So this is why it's important to heal, to understand yourself, where your frequencies are, so that you'll know when a different frequency comes in and makes you feel a certain way and you're questioning it. That first inkling, that first questioning, that's your intuition. That's the universe trying to tell you something. So the next time you find yourself in a situation where you're questioning yourself, a narcissist will quickly change your mind. He doesn't want you to have time to think, which is why he will spend hours talking to you on the phone, emailing a lot, or texting. He wants to make sure that you remain in this sleep-like state. And if there's a longevity to that, you start to take that on as your own inner emotions, or something that belongs to you. And the whole time, the narcissist is projecting onto you what he's feeling, but he's using me as the human trash can. Then what happens later is that same flying monkey gets used to dumping their inner dialogue onto you and forgetting from the beginning what's happening. So they get used to this. And even when the narcissist is long gone, that particular person was feeling good dumping off their own emotions onto the target. And then it's hard to reverse that, because this in fact was a recording in your mind that made you feel better at the time. So the whole point of this video is to emphasize on how important it is to understand what energy, what emotion belongs to you or someone else. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Like and subscribe. And I guess that's about it. Have a good day.